Ang topic natin ngayon ay illustrating random variable. Simulan natin ang ating lesson sa definition ng variable. Variable is a characteristic that is observable or measurable in every unit of the universe. Ibig sabihin nito kung anuman ang characteristic o resulta ng isang observable o sinukat na konsepto, ang variable ang nagre-represent nito. Meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng variable, pero ang pagtutuunan natin ng pansin ay ang tinatawag na random variable. Ano nga ba ang random variable? Random variable is a variable whose values depend on the outcomes of an experiment. It is usually denoted by an uppercase letter of the alphabet, and its possible values are denoted with lowercase letter. So, ang random variable, ang ibig sabihin nito, ito ay value na dumidepende sa resulta ng isang experiment. Ang random variable ay hindi katulad ng variable sa mathematics. Ito ay walang isang nakatakda na value dahil ang value ng random variable ay mula lamang sa hanay ng mga posibleng kalalabasan ng gagawing experiment, na ito naman ay resulta ng isang probability o posibilidad. Halimbawa, ano ang posibleng kalabasan kung ako ay magtotoss ng coin? Is it a tail or a head? So, kung ano yung outcome, ito ang nagiging value ng random variable. So, more on random variables. Random variables is a numerical quantity that is assigned to the outcome of an experiment. So, kapag may outcome na tayo na galing sa ating experiment and we put that into numbers, ito na yung tinatawag nating random variable. And this variable is controlled by chance. The word random is used often in everyday life. So, ginagamit natin ang salitang random sa araw-araw sapagkat hindi natin usually alam ang magiging outcome ng ating mga bagay-bagay. These random variables can be recognized into two types of arbitrary factors. So, meron tayong dalawang klase. This is the discrete and the continuous random variable. So, let's have an illustration. Consider tossing 3 coins at the same time. So, when I toss 3 coins, and then I represent X as the number of heads that turn up, ilan kayang heads or how many times yung head at yung tail mag-a-appear? So, what are the possible outcomes if we toss 3 coins? There are 8 possible outcomes. So, if I toss 3 coins, ang mga possible na combination ng ating mga coins ay unang-una, possible yan na walang heads. So, pag walang heads sa ating 3 coins, ibig sabihin, ang lumabas ay puro tails. So, there are 3 tails, 0 heads. Possible din lumabas kapag nag-toss tayo ng 3 coins ay isang head. So, kapag isang head ang lumabas, there are 2 tails na kasama nito. So, these are the possible outcomes of that. H, T, T, or head, tail, and tail. The tail, head, and tail. The tail, tail, and tail. Another possible combination na lumabas ay dalawang head at isang tail. So, if we toss 3 coins, ang possible na outcome niyan ay head, head, tail, o kaya ay head, tail, head, at tail, head, head. And another possible combination na lumabas is 3 heads, which is head, head, head. As you can see in the example, merong 8 possible outcomes. Kasi 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. So, there are a representation of X sa ating kanina. And we all know that ang X natin is the number of heads that turn up. So, paano natin siya i-illustrate? So, pwede natin i-illustrate ang ating random variable in tabular form. So sa tabular form, since ang x natin ang nagre-represent ng number of heads, so ang x natin ay 0. So ibig sabihin, walang head na lumabas sa outcome. Another, we can represent our x by 1. Ibig sabihin, may isang head na lumabas. And then 2, ibig sabihin, dalawang heads ang lumabas. And then the last is 3. So ang x natin, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Sa probability ng outcome, kung meron tayong total probability of 8, isa sa outcome doon ay walang head na lumabas. Ibig sabihin, 1 out of 8 or 1 over 8 is the probability na walang lumabas na head. Second probability natin ay merong isang head na lalabas when we toss the 3 coins. So sa 8 outcome, 3 ang lumabas na outcome na may lumabas na isang head. So the probability is 3 over 8. Katulad din ng nauna, sa dalawang head na lumabas, there are also 3 possible outcome. So ang probability niya ay 3 out of 8 or 3 over 8. And the last one is 3. So merong isang outcome na kung saan ay lumabas ang 3 heads. Another way of illustrating this one is P of x is equal to 1 over 8 if kung ang x natin ay equal sa 0 and 3. And 3 over 8 kung ang x natin ay 1, 2. So ang tawag dito ay formula form. Another form to illustrate our random variable is what we call the graphical form. So katulad lang ito ng bar graph. So doon sa ating x-axis, yung nasa ilalim, these are the values of x, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then yung ating y-axis represents the probability or yung outcome sa 8 outcome na meron tayo. So you can see in the graph, when our x is 0, the bar is up to 1 over 8. Ibig sabihin, ang probability niya ay 1 over 8. Kung x naman ay 1, that's up to 3 over 8. Same with x is equal to 2. And yung last natin, which is 3, ang probability niya ay nasa 1 over 8. So this is another form on how we are going to illustrate random variables. The example presented is an example of discrete variable. Yung ibinigay kong pagtutos ng coin sa inyo at yung mga outcome na binilang natin ay halimbawa ng discrete variable. Ano ba ang discrete variable? So it is a random variable which can only view a countable amount of values. Thus, a discrete random variable x has possible values of x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3, so on and so forth. So ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating discrete random variable, ito yung mga variable na kaya nating bilangin. Isa pang halimbawa, a pair of coin tosses twice. The probability of each of the possible values for the number of heads can be illustrated below. So kapag nagtoss ako ng pair of coins, ano yung mga possible outcome niya considering the number of heads? So sa number of heads natin, possible 0 or walang lumabas na head sa ating pagtutos ng pair of coin. So, possible din isa or possible din dalawa. So, yung total outcome natin when we toss pair of coin is 4. So, ang probability na walang lalabas na head, that's 1 out of 4 or that's 1/4. So, ang probability naman na may isang head na lalabas, that is 2 out of 4 or 2/4. Or when we reduce that to the lowest term, it should be 1/2. And the probability na may lalabas na dalawang head ay 1 out of 4 or 1/4. So as random variable x represent the number of head that turns up, we have probability ng x natin na dalawa or x is equal to 2 is equal to 1/4. Ang probability ng x natin, which is equal to 1, is equal to 2/4 or 1/2. And the probability of x, which is equal to 0, is equal to 1/4. So, ang unang ibinigay ko sa inyo, yung tinatawag nating discrete random variable. To give you an idea of another kind of random variable, below are the examples. So, kapag tayo ay magsusukat ng height ng estudyante natin, if we are going to weight the 10 statistics books, and if we are going to measure the time it takes to get to school, and the distance traveled between classes. So, these are some of the examples na kung saan nagde-describe ito ng another kind of random variable. All the examples na ibinigay ko, ito naman ay tinatawag na continuous random variable. Ano ba ang continuous random variable? It is a value that is acquired or being acquired by measuring. So, sa susunod, we are going to proceed on how we are going to distinguish between discrete and continuous random variable, and we are going to deal with different examples. That's the end of our topic, our references, statistics and probability, pivot 4A, and the images comes from the